Welcome. Today I am going to work on the third bag of bricks as part of this Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle build. It is the smaller of the castles, and in the first two bags we made some good progress getting a lot of the details from underneath the castle completed. The Chamber of Secrets, and where the Sorcerer's Stone was hidden. So, let's get started. One of the things that I really appreciate about this set and Legos in general, from what I've seen thus far, is the level of detail in the pieces. It's not just a basic build of, a plain structure of a building that kind of resembles something from the books or movies. I've been extremely impressed with and pleased with the level of detail that that the builds have gotten into. So here looks like we're beginning a new portion of the castle, and when I flipped ahead, it looks like this is going to start to build on the exterior terrain of the castle, so making it look much more like the wonderful building it is. So for this one we need 2 of the long pieces and 1 of the short. As I've mentioned before, I am a really big fan of trying to get the Lego pieces to all go in a certain direction, so that way there's the ability. So this, I believe, is the back corner of the castle, having all the words Lego face the same direction, whether they're going that way or this way, just to have some of that consistency and continuity. Really curious to find out if I'm alone in this, or if other people are as anal about their builds as I am. I have a feeling I am not alone. That being said, I'm not sure. I'm curious to hear, because I am fairly recent to the world of doing block building. I grew up watching my older brother do some of it. There were some structured sets. I think back in those days there's a lot more around. They were more commonly things like police motorcycles and the like. And I didn't get into it until about a year ago. And I know some people who enjoy them, but I don't have a lot of people or a community of people who I know who also build them. So things like, hey, does anyone else do this thing? Is something that, I don't know. It definitely adds a little extra time to each project, making sure that things are lined up, but it's always fun for me when I know that they are. Additionally, I have to try really hard not to go through builds extremely quickly, given there are a lot of Lego sets out there, and it would take an extremely long time to get through them all. I still really try to not get through them too fast, so that way I can continue to enjoy them over time, and for that matter too, because they're not particularly cheap, so it keeps me from spending too much money all at once on the hobby. That is wrong. Oops. I don't get things wrong super often. Even though I did on my last video as well, I selected the wrong color brown piece. I will say that it's been pretty amazing how much easier it is to make a mistake when talking while doing the brick building. Alas, I like it. So thank you for bearing with me through what seems to be easily avoidable mistakes. Something that I've touched on before, but we'll bring up again, is that I will blame my newness to brick building for it, but I have not found an efficient way to pre-sort the different pieces in a bag prior to starting a build. Granted, I have not actually tried very hard. I have done some looking online, predominantly just searching Amazon to see about different sorting bins and solutions like that are available. But none really stood out to me, and it might just be because I need to come up with not only the physical means to do the sorting, but also a strategic means. Which ways are the most, what is the most efficient way to do the brick sorting? So, you know, I know that containers or trays or whatnot are only as efficient as can only be as efficient as the way you use them. So that's something that I haven't done a lot of looking into, but I'm certainly interested in as I do this more, especially as I continue to share videos, since digging through bags is probably not very interesting to watch, but also interferes, I'm guessing, with the sound quality if I'm trying to talk at the same time. So yeah, if anyone has either the particular physical sorting trays, containers, whatnot that they like to use in particular, or just overall methodology and process, happy to hear about it. Drop a comment. Along with that is that I usually try to make sure I have a decent amount of time to devote to building a set when I start, enough time to complete a full bag of pieces or step in the process. However, you know, that doesn't always happen. I could be interrupted or whatnot. And so being able to have a great way to then pack up the pieces and stop where I'm working and put it on the side till I can pick it back up again would be helpful. I do currently do my building from my kitchen table. I have other spaces that I could use, but this allows me to have really good natural light during the daytime, although I do admittedly do a lot of building in the evenings as well. But a lot of space to kind of lay things out as well. So as much as, you know, I appreciate having the extra space, it also means that the table is regularly used for other things. And I worry about losing pieces, or breaking them, or just having my table, my kitchen table, too obstructed. So effective storage. something that is important. And here, once again, I put a piece in the wrong place. Try to get this out. There we go. Still learning how to most effectively use this little tool. I greatly appreciate that it's included with all of the bigger sets, although still sometimes takes me a couple tries to get it. Which seems like a minor thing when doing an activity that I enjoy so much. So here, this is really coming along together nicely. I believe this is going to be the exterior of the castle, and we'll build it up. I believe there'll be more rocks and greenery here as I continue. All right. I think it would be extremely cool to be able to do a tour of the Lego factory. I don't know if that's a thing where tours are offered or not, but it makes sense that there are tons of different colored and shaped Legos manufactured. But what I think I find even more fascinating than the sheer volume of different shapes, colors, and sizes is the ability to have a particular one be an excellent solution when building out multiple different sets. So, you know, we're building a giant gray, stone castle, but we still have these colorful ones and the different things that they can also be used for, or especially the various shapes. I am a numbers and statistics person. That's what I do for my day job. And so I also studied economics in college. So the efficiency and that is used, and I'm sure trade-off analyses for which sorts of new bricks are worth building versus trying to use an existing one. That sort of thing would be fascinating. One of the other things that I think is very impressive about the Lego brand of bricks is the level of precision and high quality control they have. I don't remember the numbers, but for a piece to make it into a set when being manufactured, it has to be so close to exactly perfect to make it through quality control and actually included in a bag. And then not only that aspect, but also the quality around how infrequent it is for a set to be missing any pieces. It is extremely rare for anything to be missing when you buy a set of Legos retail. That being said, one of the first sets I ever bought actually was missing a piece. And I said something to one of my colleagues at the time who, I think that's the wrong piece. Who had been building Legos for decades, like lifelong fanatic. And I wasn't very familiar with Lego's quality control and how phenomenal it is at that point. I mean, I didn't question it just because I had one set that was missing a piece. I hadn't questioned it, but he was shocked that one of the first ones I ever bought had a piece missing, because he said after decades of buying and building sets, he could count on one hand how many sets have been missing a piece. Which is just mind-boggling when I think of the millions, probably, of pieces that he had purchased and assembled in that many years. I have an instance where the picture doesn't quite look like what I have. So I'm gonna put some pieces together and see what I might be missing, or you know what, I bet it's just the angle. The way I am looking at the manual, here we see that there's this piece that stands up fairly high by the red, and it looks like it's really close to this tall gray piece I had just put in. And here, this looks like it doesn't have anything right by it, but because of the angles and the depth, I bet it is supposed to be that piece and that everything is in order. All right. So there is that. I will say that the Lego sets that do architecture are probably some of my favorites. I haven't bought any of the actual famous architecture sets before, but I do eye them quite a bit. And it's been the main focus, or the ones I've prioritized the most when buying my various sets now. Predominantly Harry Potter, but I have some others as well. So as I mentioned before, this is the biggest build I've done yet, and the most expensive set I've purchased. I bought it a while back, but have been kind of holding on to it, looking forward to doing the build, but picking a couple others to complete first. All of those, I've done a few of the Lego botanical builds before, and I've really enjoyed those. And partway through this castle build, since it is one that takes a lot of time, I might at a certain point set this aside and switch to a couple smaller ones in the middle. But I've done some botanical ones, and I'm currently doing a small, the mini Disney Castle one, which is a pretty quick build. I think, once again, love architecture, the architecture builds. So I found it on a great deal and bought it on a bit of a whim. I'd love to do the large Disney Castle one, but it's a little bit more expensive than I'm willing to pay right now, but maybe one day. Especially when there are so many other ones that, so many other great builds that I could do and love. But for most of the Harry Potter ones that I've done, they've been the scenery or the different buildings. So obviously I have the castle here. I've done Dumbledore's office, the Room of Requirement. I have the Chamber of Secrets one, but I have not built that one yet. I've also done the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes build. That also has the owl post in it. That may have been the first build that I ever did, other than the Advent calendar, the Harry Potter Advent calendar last year. And then I had also found one that was a car from James Bond. I found that one like kind of at a flea market type, high-end flea market type place. So I did that first, just because making sure that I really did want to start investing in them. But I haven't done many of the ones that are like creatures or scenes from classrooms. Just yesterday I did get the new Charms class set that was released earlier this year. So I'll build that one probably before long as well. And that was one where I had some reward dollars to spend at a store and decided that I'd really like another Lego set. So what can I buy that is fairly inexpensive. So I went ahead and got that one. I also just bought the night bus. Same reasoning or method in that I had $45 in rewards bucks to spend at a store. So I thought getting a $50 Lego set for $5 sounded pretty awesome. This is an instance where all the pieces are starting to blend together a little bit more. So I need to take a close look at what is meant to go where. All right. I'm getting close to being done with this particular bag. I find the approach that is used for this build interesting in that, yeah, we did a fair amount of base work, but we're now building up in one end before moving on to building out the base in the other end. And as I've mentioned before, I am extremely impressed with the Lego brand's ingenuity and efficiency, and yeah, I mean, they're just a very high quality brand from everything I've seen. So I'm really curious to see what the next bag and bags, as there are a ton for this build, entail and what the approach going forward is. I'm actually going to turn this a little bit. once again, the usage of color in here is really interesting to me. I'm curious to see if it's the type of thing that ends up being covered up and not noticed in the future, or if it will be adding to the design when you get the whole thing completed and the more macro view of this build. And one last step here. And once again, this bag has, or this step in the castle process, here on this last page of instructions has a little bit of insight or behind the scenes information. So if muggles should accidentally come across the Hogwarts grounds, the castle will look like an abandoned ruin, and warning signs will discourage them from exploring the site further. So I don't know if that necessarily has anything to do with these bright colors, or it's just an interesting tidbit that was put here. But yeah, that's something that's mentioned in the books and is a cool detail. So join me again soon as we work on bag number 4 for this build. Thanks.